Okay, I'm here in the studio, Andy's studio. I'm about to interview, to chat with Andy Gangadeen. I'm looking at the Gangascope, which you're going to see later. This drummer, he is so cool. He's worked with so many cool people. The list is kind of slightly endless. He's chasing status's drummer at the minute. He has worked in the past with Jeff Beck, the Spice Girls, M People. He Rudimental, musical director for Rudimental. So many people that I've probably left out. Massive Attack. And I'm a huge Massive Attack fan. I can't wait to ask him about that. And very, very excited to talk to him. He's over there waiting. So let's do it. Okay, Andy, first of all, could you tell me how old you were when you started the drums and what attracted you to it in the first place?
I started when I was 17, Laura, and an amazing teacher, Bob Armstrong, who taught me. I was doing for 5 years, and basically, he was like my mentor, and I am where I am today by through his sort of process and his understanding of teaching and drumming. And yeah, I've got a lot to be so thankful for his endeavours in getting me to where I am now, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you started, because I've been playing maybe 3 years. What did you focus then, on rudiments, or how did he?
Yeah, pretty much. It was. I mean, it was a very intense time, and just went through that whole thing of all the rudiments and sight reading and practicing. But at the height of my time with him was doing sort of 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Which is, but the first lesson the first thing he said to me on my first lesson, he said, he sat me down and said, listen, there's no magic in this. It's just hard work and practice, And he said, if you want to get that good, he says, you've just got to put the hours in. And it was said, no one gets there by not doing that process, sort of thing. It's not an X Factor thing or whatever where you can bluff your way through it. It's purely down to hard work. That's what separates the good from some people who don't quite sort of do it, sort of thing.
Yeah. When were you aware that at some point, okay, this is really what I want to do, and there was a shift in your playing?
Well, I wanted to play since I was the age of 7, but my dad wasn't having any of it, sort of thing. So hence that's why I didn't start to really late. But I knew what I wanted to do at a very early age. That's all I wanted to do, sort of thing. And I guess that frustration of those 10 years of not being able to do the thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
The minute I sort of sat behind a kit, I kind of I just got this amazing sense of, God, this is a really special place, And I still get that now, because being sort of not being able to do something for that amount of time does make you really appreciate when you get it. I think sometimes in life you have too many options and you get given loads of things, and you have too many options. You don't really have that real hunger for it. But because I had to really, really want to do it, I never took any of it for granted. I just thought, this is a treat, And I sit behind here and I kind of still get that same feeling.
You see, that's what it's so interesting talking to people, because it's so lovely to hear when you've been doing it for years, you still feel it. You still feel that passion when you sit behind it.
Totally, because you're there to. Obviously, you've been hired to do this thing, but it's a serious job. What you're doing, and you got to give it your 100% commitment and the complete desire to earn the right to be there, because if I just took it on face value and think, booked because you're this name or whatever, so therefore you can ride the wave a bit or coast a bit, then I mean that simply wouldn't work for me. I put a very high a lot of expectation on myself because I want it to be the best it could possibly be, and I try and just always strive for that thing, not sort of do things which is going to make me look bad, which ultimately will make the band look bad. So I set the bar quite high in terms of I've got to deliver this performance and just deliver it as best as I can, sort of thing.
I mean, actually, that while we're on this subject, do you still practice a lot?
Yeah,
Even now, and what do you practice?
Not nearly enough is the honest answer to that. But but the thing is, but with my times, like developing lots of other aspects of in other roles in what I do.
Yeah.
But that's no excuse. I mean, I should be doing much more practicing than I am doing. But what I do before any gig is I spend at least a good hour to an hour and a half warming up, sort of thing, because that's the one thing you need to be in the zone and focus on. But and the sort of things I really practice is practicing everything really slowly and really quietly, because I found that by just whipping up a storm and that's doing really fast things before you go, when you're really wired and you can't relax. So I just try to play everything at really slow tempos, really quietly, and it just subtly warms everything up. So when you go on there, you've got all that, you've got everything nicely oiled, but then when you play, it's just much more fluid.
Actually, that is a very interesting point. I mean, do you just do it on a practice pad?
On a practice pad, yes.
And like paradiddles and stuff like that?
Paradiddles and stuff like that, but there's also these, just practicing loads of like flams, but flams which fall exactly together. So instead of making a flam do blup, 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 those two hits where one's slightly behind the other, you play flams which hit exactly together.
Okay.
And it's kind of, you're kind of calibrating your because a lot of times when you're playing, you need the hat to fall exactly where the snare is, sort of thing. So by practicing like just, I don't know, like a flam paradiddle, but don't play the flam, but still play the stick together, that kind of locks the hands in together, so it's hitting the things exactly at the same time.
Okay.
Which is a really good way of doing it. It's basically this guy called Gary Chester, who did a book called The New Breed. A lot of his exercises was all based on just hand-to-hand stuff, but playing flams which put exactly together. And by doing that, you kind of calibrate your hands to do things so it's really locked in when you play.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's a bit too much detail, I don't know.
No, that is. Do you know what? I want to know, like, how people like you, what you do to warm up. Because we're all human.
Yeah.
And it's a physical thing.
It is, yeah. And
as you you get older as well, it's more important to look after your body and not have injuries. And if you're playing an instrument, it's your job.
Yeah.
But like, that's physically. Mentally, do you just like how before a gig? Do you want to talk to people, or do you want to be in a room?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in a good position with chasing status, to try and get my own sort of room to practice in and like to, just have that, moment of solitude and just get yourself together. So you're just kind of in that space, and and pretty much just from that point towards the stage, is very much kind of just thinking about one thing. And then just go on, and then you can just sort of release it, or not, as the case may be. But yeah, but that's in theory, that's kind of the principle.
Is it hard to get in the zone sometimes?
It is, yeah, because we're all human, as you say, and sometimes it's you can just, I've done shows from one night to the next. The first night in the same venue, playing the same set. On the first night, it's been a dream. Everything's just happened. Second night, everything's exactly the same, and I've played. It's fallen apart,
Yeah.
And there's no explanation for that. I'm playing the same thing at the same venue on the same kit, but something will just, you're just not focused enough sometimes, and things just don't just happen as well as do. But the way out of that is to realise that factor is there, and just to sort of guard against that, because then I start building in all these things of trying to work out what's not quite right. But the most part of it is you tense up, and you're breathing. You lose your concentration on your breathing, because that's the most important thing, which kind of makes everything just sort of happen. Once you start tensing up, then your breathing control goes out the window, and it's just very hard to lock it back in.
Yeah,
so breathing is the thing that will kind of just get you out of this thing, and
sometimes I don't think I'm breathing. Like I'm playing, and I'm like, breathe.
Yeah, I know, but that's always the thing, because you're just you're sort of, you're just like, hanging on for dear life, because you've got this film coming up or whatever, and you'll never achieve it by by doing that. It was just got to be, you know, it's just a physical thing. You know, you starve your muscles of oxygen and stuff like that, and so it's a bit wired, and then it just has a knock-on effect. So
that's right. I'm going to be more aware of that. Actually, that's a really good thing.
It is, yeah. Just like, you know, if things can't quite go right, the first thing you just check is just calm down, breathe. You know, just concentrate on breathing. Just relax more, and the more you relax into it, then things can kind of work itself out.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on my breathing. Okay, so you've worked with so many people, right? An amazing. You know, I've listed some of them, but can you pick any like career highlights for you personally? You know, things that you look back and you're going to remember, moments, or you know, things like that.
It's been. I mean, I've you know, blessed, privileged, you know, to be in this brilliant position, but and also, you know, thankful for, you know, I'm still having a very, you know, good enough sort of career still now, sort of thing. But I had my own project called The Bays, and we did that ran for about 10 years. It was an improv electronic band. We didn't rehearse, we didn't release any music, but we just did these live performances. And we got to guest with loads of people. One of them was with Herbie Hancock, and we did a sellout show with him at the Barbican, which was an amazing thing to do. To work with Jeff Beck for a year was brilliant. And but I guess, you know, we did this. I did the show with Chase the Status on a big weekend in Carlisle, and the Foo Fighters were headlining, and so unbeknownst to me, Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins was watching the show side of stage, and so I came off stage and went to my dressing room, and he just came up and just said, you know, that was amazing, and he put his hand out. That's all.
Oh, really?
And that was like, I was buzzing for about 2 weeks afterwards. I just thought, wow, it's Dave Grohl, you know. But
God.
It's nice when you get those moments, you know. And he's a real hero, he's a proper heroes for
That is bonkers. and to work with like the likes of Jeff Beck. I mean, how did that happen? Do you get a call? And you just go, wow, and you know.
Well, when the call came in, I could actually believe it was, you know, him that was on the phone, and yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, it's something like that you can't really turn down. You know, you get but you know, he'd heard about the work. He worked on a record called You Saw It Coming, and there's a lot of electronics in it and stuff like that. So he wanted to incorporate that into his new set. So that was reason for him asking me to do it, something, because you know the work I've done with all the electronics and stuff like that. But then we played a lot of his older stuff, which, you know, I wasn't that particularly comfortable with, because I'm not that sort of player to go in and to fulfill that role. So on one side, it was an amazing thing to do, because obviously working with someone like that is it just raises your level, and it's just a real, you know, an honour to be asked to do it. But you know, but also you do take on quite, you're in the wake of a huge amount of amazing players that's gone before you and when will leave after you, sort of thing. So it's kind of like it's a different one to get your head around. But
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
is there anyone that you haven't worked with that obviously not present people that you're working with? Like if someone said to you, right, anyone in the world, you've got the choice. It's like the band dinner party guest thing. Is there anyone that you would have always wanted to, that you haven't yet?
I have, and it's probably not. You know, I mean, my introduction to music was going down to a club called Turnmills back in the day, and I would go, and every Saturday there was a night called Heavenly Social that the Chemical Brothers hosted. So for 2 years, I'd go down to this club every Saturday, and that is where I just totally got locked into electronic music. So for me, I mean, just watching them for 2 years, I just got totally fixated on them and what they were doing. So I guess the answer to that would be, yeah. I mean, I'm lucky to be working with Will and Saul, who are now the new variant of that style. But yeah, I mean, to work with them would be amazing, yeah. But it's never going to happen, but anyway.
You never know. You heard it here first if it does. Andy, I want to ask you, this is like my drum quest, obviously, and everyone has a different opinion. I would like to know, in your opinion, what is it that defines being a good drummer? What is a good drummer to you? You know, basically.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, the drums have always played a role, and I think will always play a role as a supportive instrument. So it's not for me. It's not a solo instrument, even though there's been great examples of people can solo on the kit, and you know, in context that works. But for me, I've always looked at it as the foundation of modern music, and with all the new electronic stuff. That's the backbone of why we have electronic music is because of all the beats. But what that thing needs to be, how it needs to be presented is really well played, really well, good timing, good execution, really solid, with not too many fills. It's just locking down something. And again, and aside from electronic music, if it's a singer-songwriter thing or a band thing, you're basically in support of all the top line stuff. So to make that sound as best as it can be, you've got to understand that it has to work as a team, and it's not about the drumming in that music. But it is about the drumming, because in many ways, but it's just how tasteful and how brilliant you can make everything else sound around it, sort of thing. Because it's not a melodic instrument, you're providing the backbone of the rhythmic part of that thing. But what that thing needs to be is really in sympathy with everything else, not to stand out, not to be lumpy, or whatever. It just needs to encapsulate the whole thing.
It's an art.
It really is a skill.
So an art.
It's such a skill. Yeah, I mean, it's a skill set which people don't really acknowledge. It's not just to get to that last 5% of it being the difference between someone being good or in the studio or not is massive. The years of work or just understanding that thing. But it's only but that's why we have these real A-list session players, Ash Stone, Scout or whatever, who are just when they're just booked for the studio wise, they just make it sound, whoever they're working with, absolutely bang on the money sort of thing. And it's being able to play with a click and but just making the music sound great sort of thing. Without standing out with that sort of wanting to be this, just pushing something which just needs to be there, just needs to be, in a space, because it's such a dynamic instrument. You've got the lows of the kicks, the mids of the snares, tops of the hats. It's got all the sonic spectrum there, but it needs to be. You've got to take all that into account, and just make all those frequencies really come together and work in the context of the music.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's all about context, isn't it?
Yes.
And I mean, you mentioned Ash and obviously Steve. Don't know why I'm calling them by their first names, but who do you consider like good drummers? Good drummers is such an understatement, but who are the people that you look up to, or that have influenced you?
Yeah, I guess the one guy apart from us again has always been Vinny. He's just, I mean, when I discovered him, it was like I couldn't believe someone could be that good. Not just because of his polyrhythmic thing or whatever, but which was amazing. But then when he comes to play his groove, he was like, it was sensational. You could just lock something down and it would just sound amazing. I think, and someone to have both those skill sets is a rare find. Someone who has got that ability to completely do this amazing thing, but then when it comes to doing this, it's equally as good.
I've watched him.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Have you met him?
I've met him a few times, yeah. And the first time I went to LA, the first thing I did was go down to the Baked Potato, which was a small jazz club in LA, and he was on a Wednesday night he was playing there with his own band. I remember taking my little recording Walkman and recording it, sort of thing. But it's funny because I got to I was doing this gig with Massive Attack in Austria, I think it was, and Sting was headlining and Vinny was playing. So and my old tech that I used to work with was working for Sting at the time. So I met with him. He said, "Oh yeah, you should come meet Vinny." I said, "No, I can't meet Vinny." He said, "No, he wants to meet. I've told him all about what you're doing with electronics." He said, "He really wants to have a chat." And I said, "Oh." So anyway, so I get into their sort of compound and I get to meet him. He's the most amazing, nicest guy. So we chatted for about 20 minutes. He said, "Listen, do you mind doing me a favour?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He said, "Look, I have this real thing. I can't connect with anyone in the audience. So would you mind coming and sitting behind me and watching me play so I can have someone to vibe with?" I said, "What kind of invitation is that?" So
he said that.
Yeah. So So sure enough, so they said, look, just get there 10 minutes before the show and tour manager will put you in place. So yeah, so I got there, sat down, and I had my recorded Walkman again, and recorded it, and just watched this guy play. It was like, oh my God, it was...
That is mind blowing. You know, and you're so many people's, like, so many people look up to you, you know, and now you are talking about the person that you look up to.
Yeah.
And that's who I saw when I saw him with Sting, because I'm
Yeah.
a big Sting fan.
Yeah.
Can we just also talk about Massive Attack, because I'm a huge Massive Attack fan, and I was saying to you earlier that I can't believe you're on the recording that album Mezzanine,
Yeah.
and that obviously I have to get my personal thing in because I love Inertia Creeps, and what a piece of drums. I mean, it's just the way that drums can create a mood and a vibe.
Sure.
And I could play that song, and I think that is, or song or a tune, whatever you call it. I think to have something that is so powerful that you can listen to again and again, that is what music, that is what surely all people strive to do. Tell me about that. Tell me something to do with that album.
That was it was a bizarre sort of thing that came up with the album, but basically because when I got the call to do it, the album Mezzanine had been pretty much done. They were just sort of tweaking it, but then we toured it for 3 months, and then 3D said, look, let's just get the band back in to just jam some because the songs had taken on a slightly different form with Angel and stuff like that out on the road. So they said, well, let's just get the band, maybe we can use some of those ideas that we're doing for the album. So that's how that came about, sort of thing. And that Inertia thing was just a jam, was just mucking about, sort of thing. So yeah, but you know, I mean, yeah, they're a brilliant bunch of people to work for, obviously, and it was a nice point in my career to be able to tour with them and to do that recording.
Bonkers. And just for me, like I was saying to you off camera earlier about, like, you've worked on some of the albums that have personally meant, you know, things to me in my life, and that's like a bonkers thing from a personal point of view, you know.
Well, thank you. I mean, that was, yeah, I mean,
but yeah, it's
you know what, it's all there to be had. I mean, I didn't think for 1 minute when I was going to Bob Armstrong, you know, and just thinking I'd never be in this position now, you know. But I just knew it. But I just knew that thing of I've just got to work hard at this thing. You know, I had sleepless nights. I just thinking, what am I doing, you know? Yeah. But
obsession is part of it, though, isn't it?
You've got to be of that certain mindset to want to go to that place, you know. And and I guess 17 is not even that young, because I took the instrument quite late.
Not as late as me.
No, but it's sort of living proof that all of it's achievable, right? But you just got to apply yourself to it. It's yeah, but it was something. Well, I mean, it wasn't a case that I wasn't going to do it. I mean, that wasn't in the script for me. It was like I knew I was going to be at some point going to sort of do the thing I needed to do, sort of thing.
Do you think in your drumming, like, are you still critical of it? Do you still think, I'd like to be better at that, or I'd like to be better at that?
There's so many kids coming up these days. I mean, there's this one guy, this guy called Luke Holland, that's blowing my mind at the moment. You know, a young kid from Phoenix, phenomenal. Got an understanding of his technical ability is amazing, but got an understanding of electronics and his beautiful stuff. You know, but he's like, I don't know, can maybe about sort of 20, 21, you know, really, I mean, but the understanding that kids have these days of it is phenomenal, you know, and that's a great thing of technology, YouTube, whatever, you know, there's so many things out there which people can use to learn and get inspiration off and take from, but boy, oh boy, yeah, I mean, the bar is set really high now, I mean, and for me to come anywhere near what these kids are doing, I'd have to sit down and really start, you know, look in the mirror again, because that's what Bob Armstrong, the whole thing with his whole thing was that he said, you are your best teacher. So basically, he sits you in front of a mirror, and you kind of watch yourself play, and do the really sort of slow things, and you kind of like check the way the arms are going up, But that's it. And it's
recording things, because I record things,
Yeah.
and at the time I'm thinking it sounds quite good, and I
Right.
look back on the recording, or I see that I'm tense, I've got one shoulder up, and it's
Sure.
so useful. I guess
Yeah.
that's a version of it. So yeah, coming to me, Andy, okay, or learner drummers like me, if you were, to offer some advice, to know, is there something that you wish you knew back then that you know now, or what advice can you give me on my journey? What should I hold dear?
Well, the one thing is that it's, for me when I first started, the whole thing was a massive mystery, and to try and unravel that, in a sentence or after it's impossible to do. It takes a long time to demystify what that thing is. But I think what it is persistence, and just keep focused, keep practicing, and keep being inspired, and just listen to as many people as you can, because there'll be someone that you'll see and you think, right, I want to be like that person, and it's when you find that, you then kind of like, this whole thing of the mystery of it kind of like comes away, and you kind of zone into that, and because there's certain drummers appeal to certain certain things, and as vast and as sort of expansive as the instrument is, it has many different, can adopt many different sort of formats, and you've just got to find the one that really resonates with you, sort of thing.
Yeah, so I love it. So true about being inspired.
Yeah.
And it's like people like you, people that I've been talking to. It really does. You feel that you kind of get some of the mojo off you. Can we talk about what do you call this thing? The Gangascope, right?
Gangascope, yes.
Can we just talk a little bit about this? I love the art. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And it's your thing.
Yeah.
You know.
It was something that I made it myself in my living room, and I was quite good at metalwork at school, sort of thing. So, but the thing is, I just thought it'd be quite cool to come up with something which, when people see it, they're it's that person. It's just some sort of an identity, which is quite a hard thing to do if you're a session drummer, because session drummers by its term is it's this guy that sort of sits in the background, which I'm happy to do. But I also think, well, it's show business, right? It's you've got to have something which it's interesting to look at, and this whole thing about playing in a circle was quite that kind of motion for me is the way I play. So it kind of this is me all over, sort of thing. So
it does look pretty beautiful, and he said that I can get a photo of myself behind it in a minute. Tell me who you're working with at the minute, and what kind of your 6-month, 12-month diary is like.
We're here. I'm here at the moment. We're chasing status, doing Jules Holland on Monday. I don't know if that's sort of time relevant or whatever, but so we're rehearsing for that. I've been with these guys for like the last 6 or 7 years. It's a gig which totally suits what I do, and I totally admire them, their music, and it fits exactly what my playing style. So it's a bit of a gift to have landed this gig. But aside from that, I'm doing lots of MDing work, so still MDing for Rudimental and Anne-Marie, Gorgon City, Ray Morris, Kiko Bun. And all that's going very well. So it's all the new breaking talent, and there's nothing more, nothing keeps you more active than working with new, exciting people who are on the up or at the up, sort of thing. So. It's exciting times, and I'm totally inspired by all these brilliant people that I've got the pleasure to be working with. So it's all blessed.
They're lucky to have you. Tell you.
I think they are.
Absolutely. Listen, I want to say thank you. I'm gonna come over because I've got to high five. I've got to high five him, right? High five. Let me feel these drummer hands. Right, I'm coming down. Here he goes. I'm here, I am here, right? Andy Gangadeen in the house with the Gangascope in the background. Respect. Rock on.
Rock on.